What's up, guys? It's Chris.
What's up, guys? It's Chris. You're watching Plumbing Explained, and today we're going to be changing the water supply valves, otherwise known as angle stops or shutoff valves, underneath your bathroom or kitchen sink. Now, these are a one-piece angle stop supply line combo. We call them the Builder Special. They were real big in the 90s, early 2000s, late 80s, and as you can see, just a little twisting on it and the handle broke off there real easy. They don't even shut off all the way most of the time. You think you've got it shut off, you go to disconnect the line, it's still on. I had one a long time ago when I was an apprentice. I just barely tapped it and the line snapped, and I thought I had the angle stop off already, and it was on a boiler system in an apartment complex on a second story. Man, it was almost a serious nightmare. I was working for my dad at the time, and thank God he's quick on his toes. He knew what he had to do right away, got out, got the boiler shut down. Like I said, thank God it was for my dad being there. If I was with anybody else, we probably would have been in deep crap. So before working on these, you should have the water supply shut off to the entire house or building, whatever it is. Have the water supply to your unit shut down before ever attempting to replace any angle stops. So when replacing angle stops or any shutoff valve in general, you always want to have the water shut off to the house or building, your unit, whatever it is. You want to make sure the water's shut down. And with angle stops and washing machine bibs, they're two of the only things you will ever encounter that it's actually righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. So you go right to loosen the angle stop valve, the compression style angle stop valves, that is. You go right to loosen and then left to tighten. So since filming this video, I've actually found a better tool for this. It's called the Raptor, made by Knipex. And I'm going to be putting up a video of the Raptor doing some washing machine bibs soon. So now after removing the valve, you're left with the compression nut and compression ring, the ferrule ring. And this tool I'm using here is called the Ferrule Blaster. This is one of my favorite tools. I had one when it was just a beta. It's made by a local plumber here in Southern California. And I just love this tool for removing ferrule rings. It's really awesome. It won't allow you to stretch the pipe like some of the other pullers will, like the duck puller and some of the other pullers that are out. If this thing can't get the ferrule off, it just stops. If you go any further, you'll probably break it. So I'm trying to get the ferrule off here, and I probably could have wiggled it off with the Ferrule Blaster, but I wound up getting it off with my Knipex Cobras. I use those Cobras quite often to get ferrules off because the Cobras are able to lock in a certain place where they won't mar the pipe and they won't round the pipe out. And anybody who knows about Knipex knows they're really quality pliers. I typically use them over my channel locks. I don't know why I was using the channel locks in this video. I must have had my Knipex somewhere else. So here I'm removing the cold side angle stop. And again, I'm using compression style angle stops. That's what we primarily use here in Southern California. These compression style angle stops that use the ferrule and compression nut. And as you can see here, the for whatever reason, the Ferrule Blaster is able to pull these off, and it did kind of stretch the pipe on these. So I wound up cutting the copper back a little bit with my little mini Lennox hacksaw. I call it the Tiny Tim. Oftentimes, if I run into a tough ferrule that doesn't want to pull like that, I'll just cut it right off. I won't even mess with it. Main reason being it's just quicker to cut it off. You'll see how quick I'm going to cut through it with the little mini hacksaw. And if you've got at least like an inch and a half hanging out of the wall, that's all you really need to attach another angle stop to it. And I mean, if you get totally screwed and you cut too much, you can always solder on a little coupling and bring more copper off, So there's always options. Like you could solder an MIP on and then use an FIP angle stop. You don't have to use compression. It's just something that we mostly use down here in Southern California. There's the Cobras again. And I was thinking about just getting the ferrule off with the Cobra here, but looking at it now, I'm sure I noticed it then. The pipe here, the hot side, looks a little stretched. The cold side was probably a little stretched, so it was just best to cut it off. I always recommend cutting stuff like this by hand with like a little mini hacksaw or a big hacksaw if you have to. But I think if you cut it with like a sawzall, you're going to vibrate the pipe too much, and I think you're going to possibly cause your customer future problems by doing that. And I know from this angle it looks like I'm going to saw that vinyl line at any moment, but I'm really not. I have the saw kind of tilted back a little bit, so I know it's tapped it a couple times, but believe me, I have good control over the little mini hack. And if I did happen to nick that line, I would just grab another line. It's either 1/2 inch or 5/16. I would just grab a little 1/2 inch or 5/16 by 5/16 braided steel line and replace it. And it would be better than it was before, so wouldn't be the end of the world if I did nick it. Wouldn't be the first time I nicked a line on this channel either. So there we go. There's some buildup on the cold side line here, and I was just kind of poking it out with this looks like a pop-up rod. Here's a very important tip for you. After installing your angle stop, attach your supply line to the angle stop, but do not attach it to the faucet yet. Get yourself a little bucket, and once you have the water back on, flush that angle stop and supply line into the bucket for a few seconds before turning it back off and attaching it to the faucet. That's really going to save you a lot of headache. If you turn the water back on without flushing the line, it could potentially cause some of the debris, especially if you had to cut the line like we did here. It will cause some of that debris that could have kicked up into the line there to flow up into the cartridge, the stem, or the valve body, which will cause the faucet to constantly leak or run. And if you're lucky, it'll just get stuck in the aerator. But then even on some faucets, just cleaning the aerator is a serious pain. So you're way better off just flushing the line after installing your angle stop. And you're going to see, just as I complete this cut here, how much gunk is in this copper line, because we have very hard water in most of the US here. Look at that stuff. Watch, I'm going to pick some out right now. There it goes. Pretty nasty. And that could flow up into the cartridge, stem, or valve body, like I said, and cause the faucet not to shut off all the way, cause it to run all the time, or drip. So definitely want to make sure that you flush the line after installing the angle stops. I'm not a big fan, typically, of quarter turn angle stops. I mean, unless it's a DAHL, D-A-H-L brand quarter turn angle stop. Those are really well made quarter turn angle stops. But they're a little bit more expensive. However, Brasscraft makes this teardrop style quarter turn angle stop that I have had some good experience with so far. They seem to hold up. They're not like the other ones that were breaking off, and these ones seem to be okay. It seems like Brasscraft redesigned the quarter turn, and I noticed that they still do sell those junky ones that break off, but these are the ones I recommend if you have to use Brasscraft. And remember, it's lefty-tighty, counterclockwise for tightening on the compression style angle stop. Now, I highly recommend leaving that 3/8 nut on the angle stop when installing these angle stops. It'll protect the threads for the supply line. You can damage those threads and it'll cause a very, very slow and painful leak, believe me. Once you've got everything all tightened down, you're going to want to turn the water back on, flush that line, then turn the angle stop back off and check to make sure there's no leak on the compression nut. Alright guys, we're going to drop a new video every day this month of June, every single day this month. So stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, like this video, ring the bell, and take care.
Drain being a pain, the brown won't go down. Time to deploy Uncle Elroy, he's got the longest snake around. Need to clear your pipes without any gripes. Old Uncle Elroy's the guy for the job. He's getting shit done without being a slob. So give the man a like, and go and hit subscribe. It's gonna save you money, save you time. He'll teach you how to plumb and won't charge a dime.